Right, it is of course today the first day that the 884,000 matriculants registered for this year's senior certificate exam will be sitting for their first English paper. Now, Basic Education Minister Siviwe Gwarube and Education MEC in Gauteng, Matome Chiloane, are in Soshanguve at Soshanguve East Secondary School in Pretoria. Patricia Visagie is there with them. Let's cross to that now and to find out what is being said. You can see in picture there, Matome Chiloane is currently speaking, but the minister also there. Patricia Visagie, over to you.
Especially in KZN with regards to weather. We know that there has been a severe warning in terms of flooding and areas are going to be severely affected.
Yeah.
What has the department done to make sure that there's no disruption?
Yeah.
Any other question?
Weather in KZN?
Nothing. Okay, great stuff. Thank you, Minister.
It wasn't even like going once, going twice. The issue around the weather in KZN, look, we were made aware the South African Weather Service did issue the warning a couple of days ago. So contingency plans have been made, particularly for the areas that are going to be affected. Obviously, if things escalate, we may have to, for instance, look at moving certain centers, but we would be loath to do that because, as I indicated yesterday, a lot of planning goes towards which exam centers are used for when, where is the nearest storage center, how long does it take for transportation of the papers from the storage center to the exam venue. And so we would only make that decision only really under extreme circumstances, because the system runs with exact time and precision, so that no learner is sitting in an exam venue and they're still waiting for their papers. And so for now, there's no cause for panic. We are in touch with the South African Weather Service, and we will be receiving regular updates from the leadership in KZN to hear where to from now. Okay.
All right, great stuff. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Right, not so. Apparently the minister ready there with Patricia Visagie. So let's take you back there to Soshanguve, and that's where Patricia Visagie is in conversation with the Minister of Basic Education, Siviwe Gwarube.
Well, good morning, and of course to our viewers. We're coming to you live here from Soshanguve East Secondary School, where the Basic Education Minister and Gauteng Education MEC have been doing inspections just to observe the readiness of the class of 2024, as they of course will be sitting for their first paper this morning. We've been engaging the learners just to hear their views, how they're feeling. Of course, you would understand that nerves are order of the day, but many of them saying that they've put in the hard work. They have, done a lot of preparation. So, Minister is now getting. Just tell us about your observations. You've been here meeting with the principal. I heard your message of encouragement to the class of 2024. Just tell us about what you've observed this morning.
Look, this is one of the big centers in the province with over 250 learners that are going to be writing from here in Soshanguve. So it was important to come and just check the state of readiness, how they are doing, and of course one of the things that was incredibly important was for us to come in and leave an hour before the exam starts, because one of the things that I'm really encouraging and pleading with communities, with local leaders, is that we must make sure that there's little disruption as possible is done for our learners, even with communities and community protests, to say that this is one of those things. This is a huge opportunity for them to write an exam that really will matter for the rest of their lives. And so if we can give them the requisite space. But I'm pleased to see the papers have arrived on time, which is obviously always an issue that we look out for. The papers have arrived on time. In fact, as we were leaving the hall, the invigilators were about to hand out the papers. Security is something that is fine, and the only concern that I have and that I'm receiving some updates on is some inclement weather, particularly in KZN. And so we're keeping a close eye on that because we need to make sure that, again, this is the first big test of the exam period. because over over 800,000 candidates who are writing will all write today. So it's a huge stress test for the system, and so I'm confident that we'll be able to get through it, but we need to just make sure that every single learner is covered.
Mental health issues often creep in when one is faced with such a heavy task. What are perhaps the support systems that would be put in place to help the learners around that?
Look, I mean, psychosocial support in schools is something that we take quite seriously, not just only during the exam period, but also we want to make sure that psychosocial support is available to our learners, because it is indeed, I mean, you are a young adult who's coming into their own. There's a lot of pressure, but also not just pressures in school, but we have to understand that our learners are embedded within our communities. Our communities are riddled with violence, and so these people come from those said communities, and so it's important that in our schools that we have the psychosocial support that they need. Of course, we could do more. We could have a lot more social workers in our schools, but I think we are doing enough to make sure that at the very least, should learners need it, they know that they have that kind of support.
The integrity and credibility of the senior certificate is of paramount importance. Just remind us of the measures that have been put in place to ensure that integrity.
Look, I mean, we've done a lot to make sure that security is upheld. We have made sure even the storage facilities where papers are stored, that it is done and it is secure. And also we know that when papers are transported from a central node to the various schools, they are done so under heavy guard, and they are also escorted, and without delving into some of the measures we've put in place, but there are security features, additional security features that we have included to make sure that each paper is authentic. And so I do want to also really plead with the learners to not believe people who say they have access to an exam paper. It's highly unlikely that is the case. These papers are uniquely identifiable, and simply because we want to make sure that the integrity of these exams is upheld. And we've also made sure that we've involved learners in taking a pledge around not cheating, not being dishonest, to say, look, you've done the work. Now it's a matter of really sitting down and doing this big exam. So I'm confident about some of the measures that we've put in place, that they will in fact hold, and we will have a smooth exam period.
All right, thank you so much. Now, the Soshanguve East Secondary School is one of the best performing schools, public schools, based in a township, of course, being in the heart of Soshanguve. And their 2023 pass rate was 87%. We spoke to the school principal, Mabatu Riba, earlier, who said that she is hoping for an increase to see actually 100%. That is her goal for the class of 2024 at the school. Of course, the school is about 13 years old, fairly new, but doing a great work, and that's why this school was chosen to obviously for the minister to come and give her message of support and really do her inspections, but of course not leaving the other schools in the other parts of the province and country. We toss it back to studio.
Well, thanks so much, Patricia. Visagie out in Soshanguve at Soshanguve East Secondary School, which is where the Minister of Basic Education and the Gauteng MEC for Education both went to do a bit of inspection and also give a word of encouragement to the learners.